Hello, this is RV Vagabond Jerry, and there are 5 national parks in southern Utah, and probably the least popular and the one that has, I think you could probably say, the fewest things to see is Capitol Reef National Park. However, most of the park is not accessible by road, so who knows what is in those other areas that you just have to hike to, but it's a long way. So I'm going to go to the park and show you some of the main features. So come along with me. This is near the west entrance of the park. And this is a stopping point at a feature that's called Chimney Rock, which is this right here. It's kind of hard to see with the canyon side behind it, but I think it's supposed to look like a chimney when that's all that's left from a house that's been torn down. You've probably seen those. This is what it looks like from the side. Now this is an overlook point on the west side of the park called the Goosenecks, and right below here is what looks like a creek. At some point, sometime, it may be a river. But from here it just looks like a small creek. And the Goosenecks is this big curve, like right here. So from here you can see 3 goosenecks, a small one there, and then here, and then a big gooseneck right there. This is a pretty typical view around Capitol Reef National Park. They call this the fluted wall. So you see a lot of canyon sides like this. That stream I showed you below the goosenecks is actually Fremont River. And here's where inside the park it crosses one of the roadways. This is the park campground, and I want to say something about national park campgrounds. The good news is I have this pass that gives me half price on camping fees. The bad news is the campgrounds are full. I don't think I've ever been in a national park campground that had any vacancies, as they say. These signs seem to be permanent installations, and I just drove through the campground here and I counted 40 campsites where there's nobody there, no equipment, nothing there but a sign saying reserved. And for people like me who need nothing but a 15-foot by 40-foot piece of land to park for the night, they have nothing for you. They will kick you out of every parking lot, every little place you can find to park in any national park. And that is my biggest complaint about national parks, is that I have to go outside of the park just to find a place to park for the night. I really wish national parks would be able to manage their campgrounds and their parking spaces a lot better. They did let me dump my trash in the trash dumpsters there, but that's about it. They really need more and more and more campgrounds in these national parks, and at least have an overflow lot for people to park that need nothing but a parking spot like me. Here's another good example of the canyon sides, or as they call it, the fluted wall. And there's an interesting little tower right there. And that is the Capitol Reef. I'm going to put on my shoulder cam and drive through Capitol Gorge and see what's down there. Well, this road is so bumpy that I'm not going to get a lot of good video while driving. So I stopped to show you a view here. Look into the side of that canyon there. It almost looks like coral from an ocean. Well, I'm going to go further and see what else is down here. Well, this is the end of the road down Capitol Gorge. You can hike a lot further down the gorge there. It looks like it goes pretty narrow. It's pretty narrow around there. Very nice scenic view from here. Look at that. Here's a feature they call the Egyptian temple. I don't recall any temples in Egypt that look like that. Well, maybe if you stretch your imagination a bit. What do you think? Does this look like an Egyptian temple? This is another gravel road drive that they call the Grand Wash. Look at all those rocks that fell off the side of that cliff maybe millions of years ago. So I'm going to drive down here and stop at any really interesting points I find. I think this is the dome-like rock I was seeing earlier here. Look how sharp that point is on top. And these steep cliffs right next to it. It's interesting. There's a big cove on the side of this one. And I noticed something interesting up here. This is the end of the Grand Wash Road. And here's some information about it. I think I can manage a hike to the arch. Wow. Well, that was a little tricky. I think it's 0.3 miles to this point, but I don't feel like hiking another 1.5 miles and rising another 1,000 feet up this canyon side. So I'm gonna head back. But the trail does split off here to go further down the wash, which some people are doing there.
So you gain about 1,000 feet.
Well, now I'm back out on the main highway, and the scenery looks a lot different from here. I found something interesting along the highway here. The river at this point is running right alongside the highway, the Fremont River. And look here, we have a waterfall. How about that? Bet you weren't expecting that. I know I wasn't. I didn't know it was here. Well, folks, finally we get a view of the Capitol Dome. That's it right there. So this is supposed to look like the Capitol building for many states and the federal government, I guess. I think you'd have to stretch your imagination a bit, but yeah, it does look a bit like a Capitol Dome. So there you go. Good day, folks.